after 2 months of hiking in Scotland. I left Edinburgh yesterday and I just started the Tour du Mont-Blanc. I've been on the trail just for a few hours and it is already amazing. And the weather is amazing, so I actually took the high route that you can take at Col de Vosa. You have the choice between two routes. I had a bit of a late start around 3 p.m. because I had quite a few things to do this morning. So I'll probably finish today a bit later, around 9 or 10 p.m. But I don't really care, I feel pretty good. I had a few rest days after my last day of hiking in Scotland, so I feel really good. The weather is amazing, days are long, so yeah, I don't mind hiking late today. And my view right now isn't too bad, look at that. I've decided to walk the traditional anti-clockwise way because I thought it could be annoying to constantly run into people going the other way. Not the worst camping spot. From the refuge at Col de la Croix du Bonhomme, I am taking another high route alternate going through Col des Fours. The camping situation is kind of a weird one on the Tour du Mont-Blanc because you go through 3 countries and they all have different rules. In France, you're allowed to wild camp or bivouac from 7 p.m. till 9 a.m. It's actually the same rule almost everywhere in France. In Italy, you can pitch your tent only above 2,500 meters, and on the Swiss side, you're just not allowed to camp at all. But technically, where you're not allowed to camp, you're actually allowed to cowboy camp, which can feel like rolling the dice when hiking in the Alps, but right now the forecast is great, so that makes it pretty easy for me. I was thinking to stay in Courmayeur, but it's not the most hiker-friendly place when it comes to accommodation and resupplying. The grocery shop is pretty small and there's no camping or hostel in town, so I decided to keep walking. At Refugio Bertonnet you can take another higher alternate. Hard to believe, but this is an even more spectacular day than yesterday. Just when you feel like you've hit the highlight of the whole trail, there is a new one. And a new one. One thing is certain, the Tour du Mont-Blanc is not another hype trail. It is amazing. I had the same feeling when hiking the JR20 in Corsica, which is a trail actually way more famous in France than the Tour du Mont-Blanc, that seems to have more of an international fame. Before tackling those trails you feel like it will have to be somehow disappointing because you hear so much about them, but they're actually both really fantastic. So I might have been lucky with the time of the year I walked those trails, but I was actually quite surprised to see that the crowds were not as bad as everybody says. So this morning I took another high route alternate to Fenêtre d'Arpet, and boy, that climb was no joke. That was really steep, really difficult. There were a lot of rocks flying around because of the people in front of me, and going down isn't much easier. My knees aren't feeling too good actually, and there is a big climb back up on another alternate as soon as I get down basically, so that's gonna be interesting. But it's definitely worth it. It is amazing. This is where I was this morning.
It seems like there's always a cool glacier in sight on the Tour du Mont-Blanc, which sadly might not be true for much longer. It was by far the most difficult day and I am exhausted. But somehow, when it's this beautiful around you, pain and difficulty are very relative things, and you just don't really think about it. The huge elevation loss back to Les Houches has been in my mind for a while. I'll be going down 1770 meters, which is insane. But doing it, it's actually not nearly as bad as I thought. The grade isn't really brutal, it's just very long.